All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Now You Know Eagle Pass podcast. Of course, this is such an awesome day today. I have Miss Commissioner Olga Ramos, Commissioner of Maverick County Precinct 3, and we are here in her lovely home. Olga, how are you?
Fine. Thank you,
Good.
Ruben.
Good. Are you nervous?
Very nervous.
A little while ago, you're like, oh, I think you're more nervous than me. And I was like, yeah, it's like it's my first podcast doing having a guest that's a politician.
Oh.
And one of the biggest things when I posted it, everyone's asking, what are you gonna ask her? What are you gonna ask? Like, don't worry, I'm gonna do my thing. You know what I mean? Thank you so much for joining us. And before we get started, I'm actually wearing my Elsie's Power Hour ghosting the excuses shirt. This was from the other day. Was it yesterday? Was Saturday?
I was there.
Yeah,
I was there.
that was yesterday. I wasn't, obviously, because I had to work, and of course I'll pay for it later. But we want to thank Elsie's Power Hour for doing that awesome event, and thank you, Commissioner Ramos, for sponsoring it.
Yes, it was an honor to be there. It was an amazing event, and I think after seeing all the ladies and gentlemen there working out, sweating, I know Miss Lisa has been trying to get me to start a workout, and I think this was the event. So
you know what? Every time I go to those events, and I tell everybody this, when I don't see the mayor or any city council out there, I call them out. I'm like, hey, where you at? Come out here and work out. You know what I mean? And then, like, I don't know if they're getting mad or anything like that. I know the mayor's not getting mad. He's probably laughing about it. But so thank you guys so much for that event at Cruz Munoz. And of course, we're looking forward to the next one. And we are here today. We're going to talk about the challenges of the county commissioner. I know you guys are watching, but first, please, guys, it doesn't matter whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. Share the video. I mean, it doesn't mean that you're. I know how people get. You're gonna be, oh, if I share this, that means I support Olga. Or it doesn't matter if you support Olga. It doesn't matter if you support Mr. De Los Santos. Share it. We want to get this out here and get to know all the politicians and candidates on a personal note. I think that's something that this community deserves. That's my vision, and yeah, we're gonna have fun with it. So.
And it's like I told you earlier, I work for Republicans and Democrats. When people call my office to request a service, I don't ask whether they're a Republican or a Democrat, liberal, whatever it is. I service everybody.
Awesome. That's good to know. Mm-hmm. Awesome. And that's why we're here. So like it and share it, guys. Come on, help us out. Get some eyeballs on this. And don't forget to hang out with us on Wednesday. I got a special guest, surprise guest. I'll post it later. So I know Clay's over there smiling like, yeah. All right. So we already said you were feeling nervous.
Yes.
So let's get down to it. We'll just break the ice a little bit. So let's get to how was your day today? You said you were block walking?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we did church. And then after church, we did some block walking. And then I rushed over here to changed a little bit, freshened up a little bit, and I'm ready for this. Yes, I'm nervous. I've never done this. This is my first. And when you invited me to do this,
what were your first thoughts when I invited you?
I just accepted. The following day, my husband saw it on Facebook and he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I don't know. I just agreed. I don't have a problem. I have nothing to hide. And I'm excited to promote my work, what I've done in Precinct 3. And I'm excited to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Of course.
And I'm honored to have you at my home so we can.
It's a lovely home.
Bless your heart. Thank
it's
you.
a lovely home. And I'm like, is this Olga Ramos's mansion? Where's the pool parties at? It's awesome.
It's a humble home. You're welcome anytime.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. I got to throw a little comedy in there because you know what? Maverick County and Eagle Pass, man, we got to loosen up a little bit. That's one of the things why you said you were getting all these phone calls like, holy crap, like Ruben's gonna, you're gonna interview with this guy. Like, it's okay, guys. I'm not dangerous. That's why I'm here. So we're gonna have it fair. And just a little bit of clarity for everybody. The questions I'm gonna ask are fair. We didn't really have that much time to go over any questions whatsoever. So everything's raw, everything's unscripted. So enjoy and, get to know your Commissioner Precinct 3. Okay. So let's get started with some topics. And of course, we're going to talk about your life as a commissioner. And then we're going to go into a little bit about your opponent. So, and, no, nothing crazy, just a couple of things we got to address. And I'm just really glad that I get to give you guys this platform to defend yourselves. Because obviously, there isn't. I mean, of course, there's other places. I don't want to mention any names or bash anybody, but I think that if you're a media platform in general, you should have the passion to want to give our politicians a voice, because you guys can talk all day at the commissioner's court, and then you do something that someone doesn't agree with, and then everyone's pissed off, So, and then you don't get a chance to tell them why. So here it is. This is the platform. All right. So let's talk about, I'm going to go over my notes here a little bit. Your journey as a public servant. All right. So let's ask, one of the questions I have to ask you is, let's discuss your early life and what inspired you to enter public service. What inspired you to be a commissioner or run for office? You did.
And more than anything, Ruben, the needs that we had in our precinct, and that's what inspired me to. I wanted to come and make a difference in my precinct. At least I know it's very difficult for me to try to fix the problems in the whole county, but I wanted to do my part at least in my precinct.
Okay.
And that's what inspired me. The needs, more than anything, the infrastructure needs that the whole precinct talks about. So, and that's why.
When you were like a kid, did that ever pop into your head at all that, hey, I want to be a commissioner later?
Never.
So there was concerns of the county that pretty much, hey, you know what? Why not me? I can do this and I can fix this, and that's what inspired you.
That's what inspired me. Yes, just the needs in the county.
That's good. And let's see. Let's go with education and career path leading to your role as a county commissioner. Like what kind of, like, do you have bachelor's degree and stuff like that?
I have a bachelor's degree. We were military. My husband and I were high school sweethearts. I met it when I was in 7th grade.
Wow.
And I started dating him in 8th grade, and we've been married going on 40 years.
40 years.
My oldest son is Ricky. He's 38 years old.
Okay.
And then I have a 27-year-old Ruben, and then I have David, a 27-year-old.
Good name, by the way.
Yes. And then Janelle, my sophomore in college. She just started. And we got married. My husband was in the military. So we lived away from Eagle Pass for about 15 years.
Okay.
So we got to experience the quality of life of the military. And we came back to Eagle Pass, and we've been here ever since. While I was in the military, I started working towards my bachelor's degree. And I got my degree through the University of New York.
Wow, New York.
And yes, it was in Panama. When we were stationed in Panama, they had a branch out there in Panama. And they had the Colorado University. They have different universities
Okay.
branches out there, and that's where I got my bachelor's.
That's good. So you got a bit of a background in college, and of course,
Yes.
military background too with your husband,
Yes.
right? And of course, I'm a military veteran too.
Awesome.
And one of the things about military life is, man, it's so hard when you get out and then you want to get back into civilian life.
Yes.
So that's like, oh, it's something that you really gotta adjust to.
Yes.
you
Yes.
know,
When we were stationed in Fort Amador, the military, the officer's wife recruited me to. We did a lot of community service, and they recruited me to run for the mayor of our military community.
Oh, okay.
So that was my first experience with public life.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Do you think anybody else really knows that? Like,
I don't know if I put that on my. I don't remember if I did or not. But I was the mayor there at Fort Amador in Panama, and for the military community. Yes,
okay.
And we did a lot of community events and worked with the families there. Did a lot of outreach and family support groups, and it was interesting. I loved it.
So there's the roots right there.
There's
that's the roots.
Probably that's where it all started.
So, Commissioner Ramos, so one of the biggest things I think in the county is that we're not all very educated on what the responsibilities and duties of a commissioner are. So can you give us a little bit of a brief description of that?
Yes. Well, one of the main ones, of course, is the Road and Bridge Department.
Okay.
And a couple of years ago, with the rest of the commissioners, I started the restructuring of the Road and Bridge Department. And in the past, the first 2 years that I was in office, I had a difficult time executing the demands of my community and leading to the vegetation, the planning department, and but the Road and Bridge was the main one for me because that's what my representation out in my precinct with the community. And we restructured that. We didn't have teams that went out and worked on the vegetation. And so once we implemented those teams, I saw a big difference. The community and reaching out to me, thanking me, and from what I understand, the other commissioners as well. Now we have a unified where all the precincts are doing the same thing. We have where we put in the work order, where we have the teams actually going out and providing the service to that community in reference to the vegetation, the trash, and so forth. So that was one of the main ones that is part of my roles. Besides the budget, the planning department, the code enforcement is a huge one too, and animal control.
Okay. And you know what? Speaking of teams, how hard was that? I mean, I know that as a county commissioner, when you have people working for you, I mean, it can just be like anything. Even if you have your own business, like you have people working for you that you want to trust. I think one of the biggest things is that people put out there is like, oh, well, we have to worry about a job every 4 years. Let's just say, I don't know, somebody was a commissioner before you, and then you go in there and people get mad because you say you fired them all. My biggest thing is that that's politics. It's not about nothing personal. In my opinion, like, I did research on it, and it's like, it's simple. Like, would you want somebody working for you that doesn't like you? Like,
no, Ruben, the way it works, or the way I approached it.
Yeah, that's the question. How does it work?
With me, when I took office, I looked at my team and I visited with everybody with my team. Okay. The people at the water plant, I didn't let go of anybody there. And right. and my main questions to them, there was 2 questions. Are you here to do your job? Are you here to work for my constituents? If you're here to do your job and do the work for the constituents, you're not going to have a problem with me.
Right.
You're not. I'm not going to have issues with you.
That's like everywhere.
Exactly. And I evaluated that. I looked at my departments and I saw it immediately, the ones that were there to provide a service. And that team, my team, is what's going to make my job a lot easier. So I had to look for that interest, make sure that they were executing their duties. Jessica is my assistant. She has gone through 4 commissioners.
Wow.
Yes,
She's been here a while.
She's been there a while. She's been there for, I believe, 15 years. And she was the main one. Everybody kept telling me, you need to get rid of her. She's been there. She's not going to be loyal. The minute that I started working with her, I saw her qualities. She was there to do a job. And she's still there with me.
You ever had anybody that was like a problem child, like was like, oh, you know what, I don't want to do this, or I'm just gonna be lazy, or and then
I did, and I had to take measures on those. I did, and it's like anybody else. And it's like Jessica would tell me, you've given them too many opportunities, Commissioner. You've given them, and I had to do what I had to do. And it's just like anybody else in the private sector or government, anywhere. You have to make adjustments, and you have to build a team that is going to execute for you.
Right.
And that's just the way it works.
Right. Absolutely. And that, I think that goes for all commissioners,
exactly.
Whether it's Jerry, whether it's Commissioner Reese, whether it's Rob,
exactly.
whether it's Rios, anybody.
Exactly.
Everybody's got to make sure that they have their team that's going to actually work. And that's not going to be like, okay, well, you know what? I hate Olga. So you know what? I'm going to like do a little something funny. And then guess what? It's your fault.
Exactly.
So it's understandable. And I think the community does need to be a little understandable about that.
And it's like I told them, you don't work for me. You work for the residents of Precinct 3.
Exactly. And yeah, that's the risk it comes with, because let's just say you do get, let's just say somebody else comes in your place.
Exactly.
Let's say you do lose the election. Well, then is this next person going to fire everybody?
Exactly.
Like, it probably shouldn't be that way. I think everybody should be given a chance.
And it's like I tell my staff, they're nervous. Of course, we're going through an election, and they've already said, I can't tell them, I can't guarantee their jobs, whether I win or lose. But I tell them, just do your job. Just do your job and you're going to be okay.
Right. How do you balance family life and commissioner life? I mean, being a commissioner obviously is going to require a lot of time, especially like versus your family. You got to take care of your other family, the big family, whether, all in quemado. How do you balance family life and commissioner life?
Ruben, I'm going to be honest and with you. It's been difficult because since I took office, I've had, it's a lot of work. This position requires, because we're building the foundation and there's a lot of work that needs to be done. I am very grateful to my family, my husband, my kids. I adore them. They've been very supportive of what I do. It's affected, or I feel I'm not there as I need to be there for them. I keep apologizing to them, but it's going to get better. We're getting at a better, the level that the county, the infrastructure, everything that we're building. And I keep telling them it's going to get better. I promise you it's going to get better. I had to leave a lot of other personal organizations that I was involved with because I wanted to be able to balance my county commissioner position and my family. So somebody had to get hurt on the way, and it was my other nonprofit organizations that I was involved with that I had to put them on hold for now.
So it's a sacrifice.
Yes.
Big sacrifice.
Yes.
And not a lot of people know that, do they?
No, they don't. My organizations do. They keep telling me, Are you coming back? We want you.
Yeah.
And I will. I'm getting at a level where I think we're going to have time for them. But my priority is my family because they're my biggest supporters.
That's good.
Biggest supporters. My sister, my brother-in-law, Carlos, they're my biggest supporters, and I love my family. So
if your family, let's just say hypothetically, let's say your husband says, you know what, Olga, darling, I don't want you to do this anymore, what would you say?
He's already told me that, and really? I'm still here.
You're still there.
And I'm still here.
Wow.
My commitment is to my constituents for now. I took an oath to work for them, and I'm still here. My family, my husband, my kids have already told me that, but they respect my decision.
Look at that. A little, not sacrificing total family, but that's really hard to say no to family, especially, and that's thinking about the residents. That's very thoughtful.
Well, they know they're behind me on what I decide to do. They don't like the politics side of it.
It's ugly. It gets ugly.
It's ugly. I love my job. I love the progress that we're making, and I'll do it all over again. I'll do it all over again. I don't have an issue with my commitment. And if I were to get reelected, I'm still gonna do it, and I know my family will be behind me.
That's good. That's good to know. And
Yes.
speaking of ugly politics, that comes to our next topic, the one that we're all nervous about. But don't worry, we'll be as fair as possible. Before that, please, guys, welcome to Now You Know Eagle Pass. I'm here with Commissioner Olga Ramos, Commissioner of Precinct 3 here in Maverick County. I'm Ruben Camarillo, your host. Guys, please like and share this video. We want to get as much eyeballs on this as possible. This is something that's good for the community. And it doesn't matter who you are, whether you're a Republican or Democrat. It doesn't mean that you're supporting one person. You're supporting this opportunity to get the word out. And I cordially invite anybody, whether it's the county judge, whether it's the mayor, whether it's any of the other commissioners, we want to give you a platform to talk on. This is something that we can get it on a personal level with. So, and again, I want to give Commissioner Ramos some kudos. Thank you so much for accepting. Because when I called you, you're like, yeah, sure, and I was just like, no way. So great, and I appreciate that. So let's dive in to the meat and potatoes here, the carnita. Okay, the carnita and the pico de gallo. I know it's a terrible reference, but so I want to talk about your opponent, Mr. De Los Santos. Okay. Now we just said, politics gets ugly, and of course, if he knocks on my door later and wants an opportunity to talk, of course I got to give him that opportunity. But so we're just going to kind of go over his videos and his campaign. Man, he's mudslinging, and it looks like he's having a jolly good time. And you know what? It's, to me personally, that kind of gives a show to people. Yeah, it hurts. It's ugly, but at the same time, you got to do what you got to do to defend yourself, and this is what you're here for. So the first question is: so Mr. De Los Santos, in one of his videos, had mentioned something about about maintenance in your precinct. He mentioned that you're not maintaining like the grass. You're not doing. What's your response to that? And is that something that's true, or is that like or is there an explanation for it?
No, the explanation is that we are maintaining, and I have my residents to respond to that. They can tell you. You can go visit my residents. I get many text messages, many phone calls thanking me for the progress that we have made this past few years.
Okay.
And that's, he can say all he wants, and I have my residents that can testify
So you have
to my work.
You have all those testify. You have your supporters who love you. Obviously, I can see some comments on there. We'll go with Q&A once we later if we can. Shout out to Mr. Ishmael Castillo Alejandro. He looks like your biggest fan.
Smiley. Mr. Castillo Smiley, yes.
He's a good guy. He's a good guy. We've had our spats before when I was running, but he's here supporting. That's good, man. Support your commissioner.
Yes. Well, him and many others. When we were block walking earlier today and this past few weeks, I hear it from my residents. Commissioner this alley, Commissioner this, and they know my slogan is my actions speak louder than words.
Absolutely.
The work is getting done. So he can talk all he wants.
We'll branch off of that. So how many times a day do you get your residents coming and telling you, hey, Commissioner Ramos, this is a problem we have here? And how do you respond to them? Is it like by email or by phone call?
Every day we get either a phone call or a text message, and they'll go by my office either to thank us for the work that we're doing or to concerns, lighting out in the precinct, whatever issue they might have. A lot of them are to thank us for the work that we're doing, but any concerns that they have, if it's within my jurisdiction, we address those concerns. We put in a work order to whatever department it needs to go. If it's within my jurisdiction, I execute that work order. If it's not, I forward it to whatever department it needs to go to so that they can take action.
Okay.
And then I have my staff that follows up that it gets, whether it got completed, and then we close out those work orders.
Okay. All right. That's good to know. I mean, that's good. It's good to know that that's how they can get a hold of you.
Yes, my
You know.
office, they can text me. Everybody has my even my assistant tells me, why do you give out your personal cell number? I don't have a problem with giving it out. They can reach out to me. They can call me. They can text me. A lot of them are already trained. They already know because they call me and I'm driving. I don't have a pencil or I can't write, but they'll text me. The majority is text messages, or they'll see an animal on the road. They'll take a picture and they send it to me, and I forward it to the animal control. Whatever the concern is that they have, they know they have. We have built that relationship with a lot of my constituents that on a personal level, they text me.
That's good. I mean, like, do you ever get like those troll texts, like anybody that has your number and just texts you like, "Hey, Olga, like I hate you" or anything like that? Like,
No,
you ever get that?
no,
Okay. I had to ask because I mean that's kind of my fear about giving out my personal information, but that's good. I mean, everybody has access to you. So.
Everybody has access. I know my staff, Commissioner. Why do you give them your cell number? Especially the ones. If I get work orders over the weekend, Monday morning, boom, 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 I execute those work orders, and they tell me, why do you do that? I don't have a problem. I work for them, so they're welcome to.
Awesome.
Call me.
Next question. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So residents and safety for stray dogs. So your opponent has mentioned that that's something that you're not taking care of. Like, there's, and I saw the video, there's like trash on the outer parts of the house, like when you take out the trash and then, I mean, it happens. A cat will get in there and dump it all out. I mean, is that really your fault, or is that something that you're responsible for? Or there was also another citizen on the video saying, well, this is why I pay taxes. Why should I pay for them to pick up the trash? How does that work? And is that like,
I don't know what, I haven't seen that video.
Right.
I don't know which video you're referring to, but if it's trash that they took out, there's the Maverick County landfill. We have a routine all over the county. They come every 4 months. On the fourth month, they come and they pick up trash. So if they took out trash when they were not supposed to, and from what I heard, that's what happened on that video. I haven't seen it again. But
it's just him talking to a resident, and there's like a trash can knocked over, and the trash fell out, and I guess they charge. I mean, of course, you got to charge. I don't know how much money to come and pick it up.
We charged.
Is that how that works or no? Okay.
No.
How does it work?
No, the way it works, it's a landfill. We have a rotation. They start like they just finished mine. My next campaign cleanup, it's until December.
Right.
Right now, if anybody's taking out trash, they're in violation.
Right.
They shouldn't be taking out trash.
Well, I think what I'm trying to get at is, okay, so for example, let's say I take my trash out and then it's there on the curb, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, I mean, I'm not living in city limits. It's in the county. It's in the Quemado and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say a dog comes and knocks my trash can over, and there's trash just everywhere. And so I want the county to come pick up my trash. Does it work that way?
Well, if it's your trash can.
Right.
For once, from Elm Creek this way, nobody has trash cans.
Right.
So if it's within the city limits, your trash.
It's your responsibility,
yes.
Right? Okay.
It's your responsibility.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to clear up.
Yeah, no, we're in charge of the campaign cleanups, and if they take it out when we're not on a campaign cleanup, they're in violation. They shouldn't be taking out trash, and we do it a lot of the times. They call us, they're cleaning out the vegetation on the lawn. They go pay road and bridge $40-$50. The road and bridge supervisor does the inspection. They go pay and it gets picked up. But the community understands especially in my precinct. We tried to address that. We only have one, the picked up, that they need to capitalize and take advantage of the campaign from the Maverick County landfill
Right.
because they have a lot of trucks and we want to capitalize on
Okay.
that.
Okay.
And but we'll work with them if they schedule us, we can work with them and pick it up, and they know that. They call my office.
He did say something about animal control. So what's the process with that? They're saying that there's all kinds of stray dogs everywhere, but we all know.
We all know that we have a problem with that, and I'm the first one to admit, because that department falls under the judge's responsibility, and we've been working very closely with them. We have a little bit of funding for a facility, and Mr. Reese and we submitted a couple of months ago. We submitted an item so that we can actually take care of that, and we're already working in collaboration with the judge to execute that. It needs to be addressed. Yes, we have a concern. We have limited space right now. We have 3 different locations that the judge is looking at, but he's already handling that. And it's like I told the judge, that falls under us if we don't execute. So we
Right.
need to take care of that concern.
Now, what's your advice to the community on stray dogs? Because obviously the stray dogs aren't coming from your house.
Yeah.
So it's a problem everywhere all in Maverick County.
Yes.
And this is coming from me. Like I see all these poor animals. I'm an animal lover.
Yes.
I see all these animals. I see the Buddy Foundation trying to rescue all these animals.
Yes.
And it's because of responsible dog owners.
Yes.
I know I know it's kind of hard for you guys as public servants to say that, because it sounds like you know how people can take it. They can go,
Yes.
well, they're blaming us for it. No, it's true. Like, you have irresponsible dog owners,
Yes,
who are just either dropping their dogs off. And Quemado is a hot spot. There's roadkill everywhere because they just dump the dogs,
they take 'em.
and then it becomes your responsibility.
Yes, no,
You know.
and we're addressing that. As a matter of fact, we requested another position in that area to help out the one person that we have. We only had one employee in that department, and the judge was very supportive and supported us on that. So now we have another position in that department.
Good.
Because we need somebody to weekends, after hours. So we're taking the necessary steps to move forward in that department.
Okay. Next question. The park at Elm Creek. Now, your opponent has recently put out that the park is in a flooding zone. There's, the money's going to the park that's not properly planned or inspected. And correct me if I'm wrong, because it's all in Spanish, and sometimes my Spanish is crap. I mean, it's crappy. I mean, obviously we're speaking in English.
Yes.
But that's kind of one of the points he put out there. What's your well, he also put that. Well, we'll go to the next topic. We'll talk about the park. I'm sorry, I got mixed up on my notes. So what's your response to that in regards to the Elm Creek Park being in a flooding zone and not putting, not getting it inspected and all that stuff? What's your response to that?
We have the Elm Creek Park was only the area next to the Pulga area, as everybody knows, the little picnic tables that were there. I had been working, I don't know what he's talking about in inspection, but I've been working very closely with our county engineer, Hector Canales, in the development of this park. I don't know why it must be campaign season, or
we all know it's campaign season.
It must be campaign season, and he has to find something to attack me on, because he can't find anything else to attack me on. So, okay, it rained, let me attack her on the park. But I've been working with Mr. Hector Canales, Mountain View Engineering, and the bottom part, it is part of it. The top part where we're developing, it's not. That area on where we're making the improvements was property that was owned by the county. Okay. And we got MTR, the engineering firm, that I was working for at the beginning, to do the actual survey for that park. And they surveyed it. They approved the improvements up on the north side of the park, and that's what we've been working on. We've been making improvements. Residents are calling me like crazy. They're so happy about that development. It's something that it's going to be a nice park in the future once I'm done, once I win $1 million and I can invest $1 million in that park. But we have a little bit of money to work in that park. And what I'm doing, we're working on the dirt work right now on installing under Mr. Hector Canales, the engineer, the culverts and covering them. That's almost complete. And we have already installed the pickleball court up there on the higher area that we installed, that we already built a volleyball net up there, the area. And we plan to build an all-inclusive playground. I've been working very close with grant writer that's helping me. We already submitted the application. We'll find out in March if we get the grant or not. And it's for an all inclusive playground. My precinct here in Eagle Pass, we don't have any playgrounds. So I'm praying that we get that grant and that we can. It's 100,000 our part. It's through the Parks and Wildlife, and our part is 100,000. If they approve the grant, we'll get 200,000. So
Okay.
I'm looking forward to that. We have a lot of landscaping that we're going to do. We want to do green areas. We're working on that. That's one of my baby projects that I look forward to completing here within the next year or so. And but we are working with engineers. I don't know why he's claiming
Right.
that inspections. I've already had the city go out there because they were working in collaboration with them to get them the irrigation installed out there. So I can't justify why he's saying the
Okay.
things that he's saying, but they can confer if they want to. They can go
So
talk
you can check
to
it out.
Mr. the engineer, Hector Canales.
Okay. One of the things he also mentioned in the video, that he says that you're getting money for the streets to be fixed, but they're not getting fixed. And of course, he showed a video of the streets looking like the potholes and stuff like that. What's your response to that? And obviously, Quemado is a huge project to work on. So, what would be the response for that? Is it a timely matter? Is it something that you haven't gotten to yet, or educate me on that?
I don't know what he showed. I don't watch his videos.
Right.
They tell me stuff that he's doing. I really don't know what he showed, but I think the whole county knows that all our streets need work
Right. A lot of
everywhere,
them, yeah, everywhere.
everywhere.
How,
Not only in precinct 3.
how do you guys get to that?
The streets, we have a budget that we use. Last year my budget was 100,000 for road and bridge, and that's not only for streets. That's for any work that I need to do,
okay.
for culverts, anything on the roads, for sidewalks, for any infrastructure, drains, anything that I need to do. You know that 100,000 is not going to cover to build
Oh yeah, of course.
a
Yeah,
street.
that makes sense.
So that's the issue. And so we don't have the county. We are blessed this year that the judge doubled that to 200,000.
Okay.
So we'll be able to do a street. One of the streets that I'm working on is Whitetail. That is one of the roads or one of the streets that needs a lot of work. I'm working already on the continuation. I built some sidewalks with my budget last year. This year, I already got the quotes to continue that. And every year and so forth, I'll continue to do that. But the only way we're going to be able to execute and get the quality of roads that we need is through grants.
Okay.
Through grants. And that's what I'm big on. The judge calls me Olga Grant Ramos because since I took office, I used to do that with my nonprofits.
Okay.
With Maverick County Junior Livestock Show, I would apply for grants because we didn't have the funds. I'm implementing that here with the county. We already have Ms. Melva working on the U.S. Department of Commerce. We have different grants that she's applying for so that we can attack those much needed roads that need to be addressed. We already have EDA public works grants, safety streets grants that we're working on. We already worked on a plan, and the judge already asked us to submit the streets that we want to improve in our precincts, and we already have a little capital improvement plan for those roads.
So kind of to touch base on that. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Just for the audience, so you can't really spend annual funding coming to the county all on one thing. You got to try to disperse it a little bit, right?
Well, we have, like, my budget for road and bridge is $200,000 this year, starting October 1st.
Okay, and that may seem like a lot of money, but
it's not.
That's not, right?
No, especially if you're asking for an engineer design, like for Elm Creek. Yes, I got a quote for a master plan for the park. The master plan cost me $100,000.
Wow.
I didn't have the money to do it. Okay. So I'm not going to do it. It's just like in your household. Yeah, you want to buy a Cadillac or a Chevrolet. The Chevrolet is $20,000. The Cadillac is $40,000. What are you going to buy? I can't afford the Chevrolet, so I'm going to buy the Chevrolet.
Right.
And you have to do that with government taxpayers' money as well.
And it also like describes like the need for stuff. Like what's more important, fixing this little sidewalk or fixing this important road? Is that kind of how it works?
We prioritize, definitely, and we look at that. And if it's a road that actually does need, we do the Durapatcher. Okay. Mándale, let's patch up, and because that's affordable. We have the budget to do that. Okay. And that's where we come in, and we have to make those tough decisions. Yes, I would love to do the whole road, but if I don't have the money, I have to sacrifice and wait. I'm looking forward to the grants. Hopefully they'll come in and we'll be able to redo the whole street. But for now, let's do the Durapatcher.
So I can admit, I mean, I think one of the biggest issues is that when you're not really, I don't want to say educated, because I don't want to make it sound like I'm calling people stupid, but like when you really don't know how this works, it's easy to be pissed off and be like, oh, hey, Olga didn't fix my streets. Exactly. What's going on? Exactly. I think people really need to ask the questions. Hey, how come my streets weren't fixed? And you're giving the answer to me right now, so why wouldn't you give it to the people that are asking? So I guess maybe the problem is people aren't asking. Maybe they're afraid to come and ask, or maybe they're going off of, bad mouthing. Well, hey, I heard Olga doesn't want to fix it, and they just go with that. I think there's a lot of that going on.
There's a lot of that going on. It's like, I know precinct 2, the other precincts, I know they have a lot of issues where there are streets as well, but we have a budget. We all get the same budget. Okay. We all get $200,000. Last year we had to make some cuts on the budget, massive cuts on the budget, and that's why we only got $100,000. And what can you do with $100,000? And that's not only roads; it's for culverts, for the weed eaters, for the anything that we need for the road and bridge department. So it's tough. It all boils down to the budget.
Well, thanks for giving that information for everybody. And like I said to everybody, I mean, like, again, I used to be one of those people that were like, what the hell, Ramsey, why isn't this fixed? Or, what the hell, Jerry, why isn't this fixed? You know what I mean? And then when I actually ask you guys about it, now it comes clear. So that's what made me want to kind of, all right, here's a light bulb in my head. Now it's time to really give no matter, even if you weren't my, well, I don't live in your let's just say Jerry wasn't my, choice for precinct 1. All right. So he's there. All right. So I need to do what I can to support and be like, all right, he's not my candidate, but instead of hating on him, or, same thing in your precinct, instead of hating Olga Ramos all day, let's kind of support as much as we can, so that way we can give you the insight on letting you know, hey, this is what we need help on. Like, what's going on here with this street? You know what I mean?
And that's exactly what I tell my residents, because when I do my rounds, I tell them, you drive by here every day. I don't. I make my rounds, but I'm not driving by here every day.
You're not like an airplane flying over, like, oh, look.
Exactly. I have my road and bridge crew doing it, but se les pasa sometimes, but my constituents, and it's like I tell them, and every time they text me, I even thank them. Thank you for reporting it. Let me get to it.
Yeah.
And they need to report it to us. They need to let us know. And if I can't do the whole road, ¿sabes qué? Let me go put the Durapatcher. Let's patch the holes and let me see what I can do.
That's going to bring us into our next topic. But before we do, guys, welcome to Now You Know Eagle Pass podcast. My name is Ruben Camarillo. I am here with Commissioner Olga Ramos of Precinct 3, and we are talking about, so far, if you guys are just joining us, we talked about the life of the commissioner. We're talking about all the challenges that she's facing. We still got a little bit more to go. So if you guys have joined us, please share this video, like it, and share. It doesn't matter whether you're Republican or Democrat, whether you support Commissioner Ramos or Mr. De Los Santos, her opponent. Share it. We want to know everything, and then later we can, I want to do podcasts with everybody. So thank you guys for joining us again. Again, thank you again, Commissioner, for coming on here.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. I know you were super nervous. How do you feel now?
No, yeah.
I told you.
Cool.
Didn't I tell you? Didn't I tell you? So, that's just the magic. But anyways. Yes. Let's continue. So, here we are. We're getting a little bit deeper. So, this seems a little bit. Well, I wouldn't say personal, but I think this is something that's been a huge. I mean, I think it's easy to attack anybody on, especially with the current administration. Mr. De Los Santos had mentioned in one of his videos that you're there just to raise your hand to pass an agenda for Judge Cantu. What's your response to that? And is that true, or is this something like easy to point out? Since why do you raise your hand all the time to agree on something? Is it because you truly agree on like passing these orders, or is it really what he's saying just to go with what Ramsey's telling you to do?
I'm not doing it to just on what Ramsey's saying or what it's not. There's issues that come before the court, the items that all commissioners put in. We all have the power and authority to put in an item to discuss before the court. And I submit my items, he submits his, and every other commissioner does. A lot of these items are pretty standard, not controversial items. And they're pretty much routine items that we don't, like I said, non-controversial items. My vote is on the items, on the controversial items. If I see an item on the agenda that I feel it's going to be controversial, what I do my research on it. And I'm going to give you a perfect example on one that I had to do a lot of research on. And it was on the longevity pay for the employees last year.
Yeah, that was another topic. Yeah, we can.
And that was a controversial item for me. It was. And because I didn't want to take that from the employees. So what I did, I saw that item and I went and I met with Mr. Trevino, the county auditor. Okay. And he said, Commissioner, if you continue on this budget the way you are, the county's going to go broke.
So is that why you voted to take away the longevity pay?
Let me explain. And then he said, he explained to me, he showed me the numbers, and he said, Commissioner, if you guys have options, and I don't know, you might want to go talk to the judge or the other commissioners and see how you guys want to approach this. But he gave me options. He said, you can take a day out of the workday, out of the employees, and make it a 4-day. And I said, I don't want to do that, Mr. Trevino. I don't want to take that day. He said, well, either that, you have this other option, you're going to have to make cuts. And that's why the judge had to make the hard decisions on the budget. Again, they took $100,000 from our budget last year, from the road and bridge budget, to meet the cuts that we needed so that we could be at a more financial position this year. But last year, I don't know if you remember but the past administrations, and I voted for it 100% to raise the employee salary to $15.25 an hour. I'm all for it. To Mr. Trevino, was not very happy with that. He told me it was a big, big raise that we have given them. It was a done deal. We did it. And the following year, we had to make some adjustments. It's like in any other household. You want to eat steak, but you can't afford it, so you eat carne molida. You
Right.
know, that's how it is.
So it was a hard decision to make.
It was a hard decision to make for me, and that's why I voted on the way I did. But you know what? I fought hard for it this whole year so that we could bring it back. We are at a better financial position this year, and we were able to double it this year.
Right. So that kind of debunks the chisme on, like, you know, how people will be like, oh, well, they brought the longevity pay back. It's just because it's election season.
No,
You know?
it's we're on it's a budget season. That's
Okay.
what it is. It had to be brought by October.
Makes sense.
So, and that's what we did. I mean, and it's you have to, and I vote based on that, based on my mainly on my precinct needs, and if it's not if it's a non-controversial item on the agenda, we vote there. If it's a controversial, I do my research before I go to the court. I start calling whatever the item is. I start doing my research, and then I do my vote. It's all based on the needs of my precinct.
How did
I vote.
how did Judge Cantu feel about that? What was his thoughts on taking the longevity pay? What did he say?
Oh, it
about
hurt
it?
us all. It hurt. We didn't want to
Okay.
do that. I'm sure. I really didn't have that discussion with him before that. So, but I'm sure that it hurt. I know it hurt Mr. Reese. I did talk to Mr. Reese about it, but we had to do what we had to do.
Right.
On so we can have a more financial stable county.
Right. So,
And, but it was based on that.
So pretty much we just have to be understanding that, you know, you're going to make these hard decisions. Something's got to go when it comes with the budget, and it's nothing personal. It's nothing
No.
personal. It's not, you know, give me your longevity pay. It's mine. You know, and I think that's what we get into our heads when we don't know what's ticking through your guys' head.
Yeah, and
we can only assume.
And it wasn't only them. We had to make cuts all over the departments, all
Right.
over. I mean, and one of the ones I took some cuts too in my precinct. The road and bridge, we all did. We took cuts. We had to do what we had to do.
Okay.
But they capitalized on that to attack us, and what can I say?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that, like I said, it's good that you're explaining that now. And
yes.
I think one of my biggest questions is, do you ever, you know, folks getting mad because you're not explaining this stuff? Is it because you don't have a chance to, or is the media playing sides? Not to bash the media. Okay. But like, is that the problem, or is it, you know, you just can't really do this?
Now we'll be able to do it if we need to.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ruben, for being here.
Of course. Yeah,
if that's what they want, we can do this. That's but we have our reasons. A lot of people call me. A lot of employees call me, and once I explained to them, they were very understanding, and I committed to them that I would fight for it to bring it back this year, and I did. I fought for it, and we brought it back, and we doubled it because they deserve it. They're the employees. I'm here for them. And I have an open door. They can come, and as they did, a lot of them did, and I explained to them what we had to do, and I'm just happy that we were able to bring it back and double it.
What's your message to citizens who don't know Olga Ramos, who don't have your number, who might be scared, like, oh, you know what? If I go to her, she's not going to help me because I don't know her. What's your message?
No, get to know me. Get to know me. I'm here for you. The residents that don't know me, I have an open door policy, and my staff will tell you, come in. And if I'm busy doing something, I'll stop. And my staff can testify to that. A lot of the times they try to intervene, and I overhear somebody's out there, and I get up and I go and I visit with them, and I'm here for you. If you don't know me, if you have issues, you have concerns, reach out to me. I'm here to work for you. My commitment is to you. So get to know me. Ask me.
Let's get to know you a little more. And I don't want to get into too much detail on this because I don't know if this would put you in hot water talking about it. So we're just going to go just briefly explain the petition about the funds for was it the water project?
Yes.
What were your thoughts on that when all of that took place, from the petition happening to all the chaos that's been going on, all the chaos that's going now? What's your thought process on that? What do you have?
It's just, of course, I was a little disappointed on the petition. I'm not gonna lie. And why? Why was I disappointed? Because of the needs in my precinct. We have a community or an area in my precinct that is in desperate need for this service, which is basic infrastructure. And there's different entities that we can apply for grants. There's some like USDA, Texas Department of Agriculture, that they'll give us maybe $1 million, maybe $1.5 million. But the Texas Water Development Board is a big entity, organization that has a lot of funding available for this type of infrastructure. And I'm not a grant writer. I don't consider myself a grant writer, but I started doing the research because I said USDA, TDA is not going to be enough to do the work that I need to do in this for this project. So I started doing my research on this organization, this entity. It took me about 8 months to apply for this grant. Texas Water Development Board is not going to give you money just because Olga Ramos picked up the phone and said, I need money. I want to do this project. They're not. You have to go through a very rigorous application process, and you have to meet all their bullets, all their requirements in order for you to qualify for that
Right.
for that grant. And we did it. We had to do a feasibility study. We had to do water conservation plan with the city of Eagle Pass. The city of Eagle Pass had to approve it through the council. The council had to then bring it to us. We approved that through Commissioner's Court. We had to hire an financial advisor that was able to guide us on whether we were going to be able to afford the 30% match. He worked on a very conservative plan for our 30% match so that we could afford that. If we were picked up for that grant, there was a lot of requirements for this application. It just didn't happen overnight. Again, Texas Water Development Board did their surveys. They did all their research on this application, and they're not going to give you money just because. And I was disappointed that they started the petition because they hurt a lot of the people that were going to get the benefit for this grant. So yes, I was disappointed about that.
Rumors were spreading, because you know how it is, and you can only say it's hearsay. Rumors were spreading that the reason why you guys wanted to get this grant was because you had some owned land out in Quemado, and that it was only to benefit you and not the people of Quemado. What's your response to that? And is that true?
I do not own land in Quemado. I do not own land in where the project was going to be done. If I do, I want this land. I want the deed. Somebody give me this. Like I told my opponent, I spoke to him in reference to that. I said, give me the deeds. That's public information. You can go to the appraisal district. You can research Ricardo and Olga Ramos. It's open records. Anybody can go and you can find out if I own land on where the project was going to be.
Do you feel good about clearing that up?
Yeah.
I mean, you have to, right?
Of course.
I mean, of course. And like I said, I think we all need to give you guys a chance to be able to clear this stuff up instead of just assuming that,
I mean,
it happens. People are gonna assume, but that's what happens when you don't talk. You know what I mean? And like I said, I'm glad that hopefully what I'm doing here is to be able to, regardless of how I feel, whether you are my candidate or not, I think it's a good way to give you guys a platform to talk. Anybody, if people want to give me flack about it and be like, oh, well, now your team, now your team Olga, now your team Ramsey. Like, I really don't, I really don't give a shit, So it's like, I have a vision here, you know what I mean? And like I said, I was one of those who were uneducated and when I first moved here and didn't know what the hell was going on, until a good mentor of mine said, you know what, Ruben, especially after I ran for city council, you need to really do your research, man. Like, don't just throw stuff out there because you don't know. Get to know these candidates and talk to them. Don't be, and so that's what we're doing here today, and I appreciate it.
Exactly. Thank you.
So now let's get into some positives. Now that we got that out of the way, how you feeling now? Good. I see the confidence. I see the body language. Like at first you were like, oh my God, like, oh, I'm so nervous. And that's good. Again, I have that magic.
I tell everybody I don't like cameras. I don't like to be in front of a microphone. Give me the shovel and I'm a worker. I'm a doer. I like to execute.
Right. And don't worry. So we're nearing the end. So let's talk about some positives on why, the citizens should reelect Olga Ramos for Precinct 3. Let's go over a few of the projects that you've spearheaded. Like, let's talk about 3 major ones that you've been responsible for.
Okay. Well, first, I humbly ask, of course, for the support and so that we can continue the progress. It's we have our children at stake here. We have, and that was one of the reasons I committed to do this. I don't want my grandchildren to grow up in a community where the infrastructure I feel we're living at a very low level. I go to the conferences and the commissioners tell me, Commissioner, why are you fighting for infrastructure, for water, sewer, trash? There's a lot of grant money for that. Yes, there is, but unfortunately, we haven't capitalized on that. And I want to bring our county at that higher level that we need to be at. I know that Texas Water Development Board grant, when I was awarded, Mireya Lowy called me to tell us that the board had picked up Maverick County to fund the project. And she said, before I called you, Commissioner, I did my research and I went back to see when the last time Maverick County had been awarded. And she said it had been over 30 years that Maverick County had applied. When I got home that evening, I told my husband, that's why we are the way we are, because we have not capitalized. And it's our fault that we have not capitalized and have taken advantage of the funds that are available. Somebody has to apply for these. And if it's not us, who is? So I definitely want to continue, and I'm going to, even though this one didn't go through, I'm working on other grants, and we're going to get at that level that we want to be at. And hopefully the community will see that and they can give me that opportunity.
The floor is yours. Whatever you got to say before we wrap up. We'll get to that just a second since we're about to end. What is your message to your opponent on everything? Just how you feeling?
I don't have a message for him. All I want to say is I want to ask the community to give me an opportunity so that we can continue investing in the future. And I'm here for you. My commitment is to you. And I have an open door policy. Let's continue. Let's continue the progress in Maverick County. I think my actions speak for themselves. And if the community wants me in Precinct 3, I'm going to stay. And if they don't want me, I'm going to respect that. And but I'm here committed to you.
Where can we vote at? And when's early voting happening?
The early voting starts tomorrow at the multipurpose center, and it's going to go on through November 1st, and then election day on November 5th.
Awesome. Ms. Ramos, Commissioner Ramos, thank you so much for allowing me to come into your beautiful home and get you to talk. I think sun's already in my face already. So no, it's all good, and again, thank you so much for clearing all that up. I hope that, whoever, and like I said, whoever wants to be interviewed and want to clear things up, or if they're a candidate that want to explain things on their end, I'm all for it, whether you don't like me or whether it doesn't matter. This is my vision for the county. This is my vision for the city. Whether it's Quemada, whether it's Eagle Pass, to give everybody a platform to speak. Because in my opinion, you guys don't talk enough because you can't, because I get married, or you're just not given the opportunity to. And hopefully I can do that for you guys more in the future.
I'm surprised you didn't ask me about the airport. That's a major.
Oh my gosh. Well, I think that was one of the questions about the major three projects that you were spearheaded. So yeah, before we go, talk about that real quick.
Yes, the airport was another one of my major projects that I worked on. When I was campaigning the first time, a lot of people would come up to me and ask me, what are you going to do with the airport? I was clueless about the airport. I immediately changed my platform and included the airport after I saw online all the funding available for airports, especially this one, that it's an international airport. The first email that I sent requesting those funds, I got an email back telling me, Commissioner Ramos, your airport is non-compliant. You do not qualify. Your airport has been non-compliant for 21 years. So therefore, you don't qualify for the funds. I immediately took action, and I am happy to inform you that we are in the TxDOT Aviation's capital improvement plan, and we're already getting funding. I'm on my third grant for a whole new $6.5 million grant for the runway. So this is the type of progress that we want. This is what we want to continue. So a vote for Olga Ramos is a vote for progress. Let's continue the progress.
Awesome. Can't wait to see what the airport's going to look like. And thanks for correcting me on that. I'm human. Sometimes
it's okay. That's one of my major projects that I've been working on very hard. So
good. And we hope to see what it's going to be looking like in the future. And hopefully that the citizens in Quemada can, be excited about it and keep an eye on it and how it's going to go.
Thank you for the opportunity. Right. Of course, and let's do more of these. I really enjoyed it.
Awesome. You listening to this, Judge Ramsey? I want you to be on here too. Anybody. It doesn't matter. So
Oh, he loves the camera. He'll love to be here. He'll love to be here.
Good. That'll be the first, because a lot of people don't like the camera.
Yeah. I don't.
So but anyways, thank you so much, Commissioner Ramos, for coming on the show. And you guys know where to vote at the Multipurpose Center tomorrow. What was the time again?
7 in the morning.
7 in the morning. So if you guys are early birds, get up there from 7 to 5. It's going to go all the way to the for the 1st of November.
Right? Yes.
November. And then election day is
5th.
Yep, November 5th at your precinct locations. Right?
At the precinct location.
All right. So guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. If you guys are just joining us right now, you guys can catch us on our YouTube channel, or I'm going to post the video on Facebook. You guys can watch it as many times as you want. Get to know your commissioner, Precinct 3. And of course, hopefully we can get to know more of the candidates. And so thank you again, Commissioner. This was great. It was exciting. Thank you guys all for joining us. And remember, it doesn't matter who you support, whether you support Commissioner Ramos, whether you support Mr. De Los Santos or whoever, get out there and vote. Exercise your right. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for joining us. Remember, stay cool, stay strong, rock on. Remember, this community is only stronger together. And don't forget, catch us on Wednesday. We got State Rep Eddie Morales and his wife, Helen Morales, and we're going to interview them. And it's going to be a doozy. I'm nervous again. Take it easy, guys. We'll see you guys next time.